As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more.
100 Thieves in the news, and I thought the headline here was very clickbaity, very catchy. And the headline here, 100 Thieves president explains why making profit isn't their priority. And so the article, I mean, I actually don't think the article's that good. It's not that well written. But basically what they're saying, I can sum up the article very quickly for you, is, we're growing fast. We've raised a bunch of money. It's to drive growth. So we don't care about being profitable. And the reality is, if we cared about being profitable, we would grow a lot slower and we wouldn't be able to do all the things we're doing. So that's, in a nutshell, sort of this article. Jeff, sorry, go ahead if you have thoughts on it.
To be fair, that's like the answer. Literally any company ever, any growth company that's losing money has that response every time. It's like, well, we're growing really fast and we're not burning money, we're investing, and like we could be profitable, but we want to grow fast and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's not a surprise. I will say, so I don't know if you guys saw the this guy, John, the COO of 100 Thieves, was on the Joe Pompliano podcast. I don't know if you guys know who that is or know.
Never heard of that podcast.
You don't know the Pomp
sure to
brothers?
Subscribe
they're like
to
these crypto
Business of Esports.
They're like these like crypto family. You guys don't know the Pomplianos? Greg definitely does. They're like this crypto royalty family. But anyway, one of them has like a sports focused podcast, and this guy John was on it last week. Actually, was really good. So worth checking out.
Are you looking
for a second podcast to check out outside of the Business of Esports and Meta Woman,
like
and
a fourth podcast? This better be your fourth podcast that you subscribe to.
Yeah, but wait, was there a point? Like, did he say something interesting in that podcast, or
no? I just wanted to talk about this cool podcast. No, he actually talked about the story. It was like the founding story of 100 Thieves, how he got involved, kind of their, how sort of it got founded with. I guess there was like a venture capitalist that kept reaching out to Nadeshot and was like, forget the guy's name, but it was like this no-name VC, like younger guy, kept reaching out to Nadeshot and be like, hey, you should turn, your passion into a business. And this was sort of before the whole creator economy like became popular. And I guess he sort of introduced Nadeshot to Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cavs, and that's how 100 Thieves started. And then they brought in this guy John, who had worked at another VC firm to kind of be like the business side of things. And it's a good listen.
When anyone sees this article, is anyone more like, are you more at ease with the 100 Thieves vision and story? Like, are you more likely to invest if they came to you tomorrow, or does this make you more worried? I guess, Jimmy, I don't know if you have thoughts.
It's a non-story to me, honestly. That's just empty words and an empty topic, so it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I'd still probably, I'm already invested in one team, so I probably wouldn't invest in a second, just because I don't know, I wouldn't know what merch to wear to all my events.
Your point's kind of an interesting one, right? And Jeff alluded to this as well. It's kind of a non-story because this is the story that every single growth company on the planet tells, right? Like, it's okay that we're losing money because we're growing. And I don't, as a startup guy, fundamentally, I don't disagree with that, right? But then it makes you question, why does this story exist at all, right?
Right.
Why does this story exist? And I'm trying to, like, if I put my tinfoil hat on, I'm trying to figure out what could be the reason behind it. Is it that there's this stigma with esports orgs that they're all burning cash, and I'm probably responsible for some of that, right? Like I spend a lot of time knocking them for the way they manage their business. And this is like a shot at that. Like, hey, we know people are criticizing.
Also kind of seems like a response to our similar or our discussion, as well as numerous others, I'm sure, about that Series C $60 million raise, right, at the 460 valuation. Kind of seems like a response to any doubters or naysayers or just critics of that recent raise. So to your point, Paul, I think if you look at the timeline of what they had put out before this, why now? Well, maybe it's that kind of response to that.
Yeah. I think the much more interesting follow-up, and I would be curious to see if that came up in the article, is just like, what are you investing in? Because it's easy to say, oh, we have so many areas of growth, we have so much we're excited about. The follow-up should be, okay, well, what? Like, what areas are you looking at? And I know they've done that tech acquisition and kind of,
It's in there. They said a good portion of it says, what do they plan to do with the money? A good portion of that is going to be earmarked for growing our existing businesses. And then we'll reserve a little bit of money for launching some new businesses. We have a lot of great entrepreneurs and projects that we're thinking about, the 100 Thieves president explained. If there are companies that we really admire where we share the same philosophy and the community can get really excited about them being part of the 100 Thieves family of brands, that would make sense.
That's like, again, though, that's not an answer. That's a lot of words that says nothing.
Hey, we're a business that has money. Now we're going to go do some business things. Don't worry about what balance it is.
Like, I don't deny any of those points. Like, I'm sure any business that they invest in is going to share core philosophies, but it's just a lot of words that don't really say anything.
It's not like they're going to go out and like buy like Pillsbury or something. Like, of course they're going to buy a business that makes sense to buy and fits in with them. Just like
true.
That doesn't tell anything about strategy.
I mean, to be honest, they don't have to reveal their strategy, but again, it comes back to, then why do this interview, right? Like,
yeah, that's more the point.
Yeah.
Like, we all know
for the impressions.
Yeah.
And if they're the ones who got asked to do the interview, then the interviewer in this case, right, like, is terrible. Right? Like, you didn't draw out anything of any interest or of note. I think that you guys, get me thinking about this in the way you're talking. It would have been interesting to have a really clear picture of where they spend that $60 million, right? Like, if they have a really clear vision for it, other than just, to Adam's point here, what new businesses, different hoodies, which is what it sounds like. So, Wani says, yeah, please do better on World Championship 100 Thieves. Well, in that article, they do break down their three sort of verticals: esports, apparel, and entertainment. Those are their three kind of like.
By the way, apparel being a third of your business, that's massive, right? That kind of is also very telling as to the whole hoodie org discussion. Because I would argue a Gen G apparel is maybe 10%, of their focus, I would argue. So when you think a third of 100 Thieves, that's outrageous.
They are the hoodie org among hoodie orgs. Wani says at Adam, maybe another Gucci collab. That backpack was so bad, so ugly.